Good morning. I've got my hat back on. That line of storms that came through last night, I think part of what was generating it was a cold front hitting a warm front. And we're back down into the high 40s today. It feels wonderful. So, got my hat on and I'm hiking, and I'm about 3 miles out of Damascus, headed up about 16 miles today. And leaving Damascus is not as flat as coming into town, that's for sure. Coming into town was a dream. But we've got some elevation today, which shouldn't come as a surprise because this is the Appalachian Trail. Hiking with Trigger and Jason. And we had an amazing morning in town. I had to wait for the post office to open to leave because I had some packages delivered to town with mail and food, and had a wonderful letter from my friend Laurie. Hey Laurie. And that was really wonderful to just get a handwritten note. You know, I text quite regularly with some of my friends, and that's wonderful too. So it's just so nice to be connected to home while being connected to the trail. But so what happened this morning, we went to this amazing place called Mojo's for breakfast. And I had bagel and lox and coffee, and walked in, and there was a thru hiker that we met and talked to who we didn't know yet, so we invited him to join us at our table. And then there was a woman who introduced herself, and she was somebody who knew who I was. And then I had that similar experience a little while later, and both women out doing their own hikes. One doing a section hike, and one doing kind of a modified through hike, doing it her way. Just, gosh, I love people. I love the way that people are so creative and thoughtful about taking care of their needs. The second woman that I met, I'm just not using names because I didn't ask them permission to use their names, but the second woman that I met is hiking with her dog, and realized that it's too much for her dog. So her dog is the priority, and she's modifying it. And I'm so impressed with people who can be so flexible and adaptable to make this experience their own, and not be forced by pressures of others to do anything other than what they want to do. So I think you know what I'm getting at. It's great. It's empowering. It's liberating. And it was also very validating. I had a funny experience yesterday when I was hiking to Damascus. I was coming northbound, and there was a hiker coming southbound. And, we did the fist pump and stopped and talked for a few minutes. And I introduced myself. He said, "Cushy Life, I heard about you last night at the campfire. You're the one that's glamping the trail." And I just thought that was so funny. And I was like, well, I am camping, but I am also, staying at hostels and having other experiences besides just the hiking. The hiking is becoming just a conduit for a series of experiences, and whether that's with people or adventures along the trail. So anyways, it was just kind of a funny way to meet somebody on the trail, and I guess I'm the glamper. So that is a little bit long and short of Damascus. We had a wonderful stay with Bruce, and again, I'm so thankful for that. And thank you to my friend Amy for introducing us to each other. And but really didn't spend too much time in Damascus. Went to a new restaurant called Seven Trails, which was fabulous. Went to Mojo this morning, which was fabulous. And then when we arrived in Damascus yesterday, we were walking up along the park, and there was a gentleman out doing yard work on his beautiful yard, and had been craving a beer after a very fast 21 miles. We did it in 7 hours, so we were doing 3 miles an hour yesterday, and wasn't really craving any certain food, but it was definitely craving a beer. So I asked this gentleman, we heard there's a brewery in town, and he said, oh, well, you could, just walk up the road and take a left and walk about a half mile. He goes, or I could just give you a ride. And I was just blown away by the friendliness. Damascus has a reputation, and it does not let it down. It is just such a friendly place with friendly people. Turned out the brewery was closed, even though the sign on the door said that it was supposed to be open. So he took us to the Seven Trails place, the only other place that he was sure in town had beer. Leaving Mojo's this morning and walking back to the post office, and bumped into a half dozen different people that we hadn't seen in a week or so, and it's just good to touch base with people and see that they're still on the trail and that they're doing well, and that they're having a great experience. So that's about it. It seems like a lot of people that we bumped into this morning on their way out of town were all headed to around the same area that we are, about 16 miles out of town. So it might be a fun night to catch up with some people tonight. So about 5 miles out of town, and you can see the river, and between the river and where I'm standing is the Virginia Creeper Trail, which is a bicycle and pedestrian friendly trail, one of the 7 trails that Damascus has. It's just before 5 o'clock, and I'm coming into camp. I can see tents. It's a welcome sign after a long day.
So we press this, and this is the music, right? When that finishes...
Hi, and thanks so much for coming back to Mighty Blue on the Appalachian Trail.
So once I've got that, and then I've got this one. This is a commercial for the...
Hey everyone, Chrissy Funk here, aka
for the
Rebound.
flip-flop,
I am
for the
seizing
flip-flop
this moment
festival,
to ask you
which
to
is
support
coming
an
up soon.
event in
So
your
she asked me to do
area.
that, so I
Many
put that
of
on
us
there.
fall in love with
So anyway, it all adds up to a 35-minute show. I then export it as an MP3 to my Google Drive.
So you just do it in town?
Then do it in town. Yeah, or if I've got data here. And then a guy called Ryan picks it up from Florida State University, from the drive, and puts it out within 15 minutes. I then email, all I do, I text him 3 photos or 4 photos and the show notes, which is nothing really. And it's done. And he literally sends back, he'll say to me, look, he'll send me a text, Ryan, where's Ryan? He'll send me a text saying the show's up, and he gives me a link, can't even find it now, he gives me a link where the show's up. No, it's not here, where it is. Yeah, it tells me that the show's up, and I then take that link and put it on about 20 different Facebook pages. And within 12 hours we get 1,000 downloads.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Amazing.